Hello everybody, Dr Bev here with another appointment with the doctor. I'm joining me today, I would say on the sofa, but I'm in Cardiff and this lovely chap is in London somewhere probably. No, in
I am.
It's the wonderful Noel Sullivan. Yay!
Hi love, how's it going?
A round of applause because obviously we are...
Thank you, I'll take any claps, any claps you can give.
How did I know the interview would start this way and just continue? Whenever I'm with you, it's like being on the set of a Carry On film. It really is.
It is. It's been the longest Carry On film ever, hasn't it?
Hasn't it just?
Sort of like 20 years now.
Well, staying healthy.
Oh yeah. I'm having quite a chilled one. I started off quarantine like just relieved, really, just for the peace and quiet. And yeah, it was just nice to, for the first time in my life, just not have competition and just like spend some time with my husband, who we're like ships in the night usually anyway. So it was just nice to like catch up and spend some time. Yeah, and then I was just living quarantine like it was Christmas. If I could get my hands on the food, you know, I was just going for gold. So this week I thought, you know what, get your ass on a bike, get around those streets, shift some of this timber.
Yeah, I've started picking up bunches of grapes now instead of bars of whole nuts. I'm trying to thank you for joining me. I'm just going to chat with you very casually, if that's all right.
Sure.
You and I have been friends for a while, so I know quite a lot about you, which means I have been able to delve into things that aren't necessarily on Wikipedia. So
there's a lot of stuff on Wikipedia that isn't true either, which is
right. I don't mind that. That's what happens, Noel, when you write your own entry.
This yes.
I want to take you back to your teens, if I may. Now, obviously, you're a Welsh boy. Music is in your blood. And I'm led to believe that at one stage you toured the US as part of a male choir?
Yeah, I did. So when I finished my A-levels at St. David's in Cytees, I went to, I joined the Black Mountain Male Chorus of Wales, which is now Only Men Allowed. So it was started by Timmy Sevens and all that lot. And we toured around. There was like 30 of us, and we toured around the States for about 3.5 months. We covered loads of it, and we did loads of like traditional Welsh hymns, opera choruses, then some like musical theatre and jazz and stuff. And that was really where I kind of got, you know, after my A-levels, and that was kind of where I got bitten with the bug for musical theatre, I think.
I see. And then, of course, you spent a couple of years working in Ibiza.
Yes. Lost years, we call those.
80 days. And we'll skip past Ibiza because it was around that time I met you. I
can't remember anything about Ibiza anyway, so you can ask the questions, but the memories aren't there.
I do remember the first time I ever met you, but that's not a conversation to have online.
Okay, good.
Bless you for that. And then after Ibiza, there was this TV show called Pop Stars, I think you were involved with.
Yes. Yeah. So that was. I was still out in Ibiza, and my mum's friend rang her and said there was an audition in the back of the Echo. Those are the days. Eh? Those are the days. Yeah, and it said it was at the Millennium Stadium. And do you want to be a pop star? All this stuff. And at the time, I'd done a couple of like local auditions. I'd done like Michael Barrymore's My Kind of Music, and there was an audition for Rent at the New Theatre, and you know all the big stuff. And it was the first time that there was like a local audition in Cardiff, so I just went along and tried my luck. And the rest is history.
Absolutely, and history I think is the right word to use. So I have written down some what I'm hoping are true facts about you. So obviously out of Pop Stars, you became one of the 5 members of Hearsay.
Yes.
And correct me if I'm wrong, your first single, Pure and Simple, was the fastest selling debut single of all time at that time.
Yes.
Yeah. And was the first of 4 top 10 hits, 2 number ones.
Yeah, it wasn't bad. It wasn't a bad little run we had.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, you know, I look back on it with fond memories now, but at the time it was mental to go from just like living in Cardiff, doing my thing, to kind of just like overnight success, fame, crazy fame. Like you couldn't go anywhere. It was a lot to take on when you like. I was only 20, so you know, God, I was just a baby. Like you don't even think about it now. You know, I'm just about to hit 40 next month. Long time.
Yeah, I seem to remember about 10 years ago a surprise birthday party for you across the road from where I live.
Well, you never know. If the Robin was open, I'd probably go over there for the. Oh, I shouldn't tell the viewers where you live.
It's quite all right.
As if half of them haven't been there already.
Um, one of my favourite memories about that time when you were literally at the top of the charts, riding high. Our mutual friend Kirk was working in River Island, and there was a sponsorship deal, and your face. And
I wish I could get that photo up for you now because it's classic, the River Island look. It was so amazing. We looked so grumpy.
They were dressing the windows, and you guys were walking past and knocked on the window. And Kirk was, knowing Kirk as we do, he's one of the sweetest guys you could ever meet, isn't he?
Yeah.
And
I've seen him a few times since, actually, because he lives in Birmingham now, doesn't he? Him and his brother.
Yeah.
So I've whilst I've been touring with different shows,
I seem to remember us getting drunk in a bar in Birmingham together one night.
We've been drunk in many bars in many towns, haven't we?
Well, obviously, after Hearsay, you stepped into what I think and know of you, one of your true loves, musical theatre.
Yes.
And I've made a quick list, and I recall I have seen you in Grease, Flashdance, We Will Rock You 3 times. I've seen you in that. Priscilla, Dirty Rotten Scoundrels, and my absolute favourite, a little show called Love Shack.
Oh, yes. I started at the peak, really, with Love Shack, and then everything after that has been a bit shit. I love that show so much. For those who don't know, it was basically like a musical about a hen and a stag do, but it starred John Lee from S Club, Faye Tozer from Steps, and me. And it was like therapy on the road. We're quite similar people from our pop bands, you know, like we're like mediator types, you know. So it was just nice to meet other people who had been through that process and just like get it all off your chest. You know, they were great.
Which is lovely, isn't it?
Yeah, it's great.
Which is lovely. I do know that. You, myself, and Faye went to see Bette Midler in concert together, didn't we, a couple of years ago?
Yes.
It's
the
nice
Queen.
It
was amazing. That's still one of the best live gigs I've ever seen. She was just incredible.
Oddly enough, I've had a conversation with Faye, and Faye said exactly the same. One of the best gigs she ever went to in her life.
It just had it all, didn't it? It had everything, and the pace and the comedy was just up there. She was incredible, and still just clacking around the stage at whatever age she is. I just think it's amazing.
Out of those theatre shows that you've done, which was your favourite?
I mean, I love them all for different reasons, and you learn so much on each show. I really love Priscilla, just because that was my first, like, it's the one show that, it was my first time in drag. I felt strangely at home. No, but it's, I just think it's got a beautiful story, and, you know, to hear those disco tracks live again, that was something special, sang by a cast. You know, those songs we only ever hear on recordings anymore. You know, the I Will Survive, in MacArthur Parks and that kind of stuff. So I love that. We Will Rock You, for obvious reasons. It was just like a life-changing musical for me. To open up the Millennium Centre with Brian May on guitar was just something I'll never forget. And then, like, for comedy chops, I would say maybe School of Rock that I've just finished. It was that was probably the hardest show that I've ever done, just because I never left the stage. I was on for 2.5 hours non-stop, and then my co-stars were between the ages of 9 and 11. So it was a lot to think about and a lot to keep up. You know.
If memory serves me right, you took over the role from Craig Gallivan.
Yes, I did. Yeah. Another good Welshie. Yes.
Who played Ruth Jones's son in Stella, and of course you have a connection to Ruth Jones.
Yes.
With a couple of cameos in a little show called Gavin and Stacey.
I had a little cameo. Yeah, she was. I don't know, because Wales is a small place, isn't it? So like someone always knows someone. And I remember her saying that she was doing this. She was doing a scene on Barry Island, like Santa's Grotto. and she wanted me to turn up and be an elf. But as bad luck would have it, I was working that night. I couldn't get down for it. But then she basically wrote me into her, like a scene before her wedding night, and then invited me along to the wedding as well. It was great. I was a massive fan of the show as well. So for me, it was just turning up and like super fanning all day. You know,
I remember watching, I think, the first series where she said she'd lived with you, and I was just,
yeah. I mean, awkwardly, I did email her when I found out the Christmas special was happening last year, and I was like, "Hiya, I'm not sure if you still got my address for the script, but nothing." And I do. I'll take the hits. Thank you very much.
I did something similar. You also went from comedy into TV dramas, and you did Ordinary Lies, and then you were also in one of the biggest TV hits of last year, Years and Years.
Yeah,
amazing. Wonderful.
It was amazing. Yeah, that amazing Russell T Davies, who I've been a massive fan of for years and years.
Yes. So I know for a fact that you went up there to record one scene, and essentially they loved you so much they bigged up your part and gave you more.
Yeah, which was amazing. When I got the call for that, I was just like, yeah, you know, just to be part of. I've been lucky. The TV work that I've done has been good quality BBC dramas, and yeah, when working on something like that, it was amazing. And also just being in a room for a read through with Russell T Davies and Russell Tovey and you know, all of these amazing actors who I've admired for a long time. It was absolutely daunting, but also really, really amazing. And also, I got to shag a robot, so you know. For those of you who haven't seen it, spoiler alert.
But what you did with Ruth, that's essentially what I do with Russell. Whenever I find out he's doing a new drama, darling, just give me a call when I'm needed. And then he'll put something on Instagram with we've just finished this scene. I go, darling, I haven't had the call yet.
Yeah, I wasn't there. Exactly.
God bless him. So yeah, TV dramas, that's something you'd like to explore and do more of?
I definitely love to do more of it. It's difficult in this country. Like, it's just like not allowed to have more than one string to your bow for some reason. Like, if we lived in America, it'd be a different story altogether. There's a really nice way that people move between Broadway and TV and comedy and drama, and there doesn't seem to be that freedom to move here. You really have to stick at it for a long time. So I'm happy to just like, you know, to be patient and wait for the right projects to come up. But you do have to have a strong nerve for it, because what's happening at the moment is that you're turning down theatre roles, waiting for the TV roles to come. So yeah, I mean, I'll stick to it. It's something I feel like I haven't even scratched the surface with TV acting yet. So I would love to do more of that for sure.
You mentioned America again. Then I know you spent some time in Las Vegas.
Which I also have memories of, like Ibiza, same thing.
You did a show called Simply Ballroom, I think it was.
Yes, yeah. It was funny. I basically, at that point in my life, I just had enough of walking around Cardiff and being abused for being Noel from hearsay. So I'd had enough chips thrown at me down Caroline Street. So I thought, fuck this, off we go. So I went to the States and I stayed out there. I did 9 months in Vegas, then I went over to LA. I worked. Yeah, so I did all of the terrible shows that you should do between college and the West End, right, but in America. After, you know, like I still hadn't done any West End gigs by that point either. I'd done loads of tours. So yeah, I did a load of terrible shows. Simply Ballroom was one of them. It was absolutely dreadful. And then I went over to do this other dreadful show in Reno called The 12 Irish Tenors, where I pretended, well, A, that I was Irish, and B, that I was a classical tenor. So that was something. It's just loads of really cod lines like, my name's Noel Sullivan and I'm the only Irish tenor who can pull a pint of Guinness. Yeah. But, you know, it stood me in good stead, because what it made me realise, I stayed out there and I did all these kind of little production shows, and I was just like, look, I'm worth more than this. And it gave me like a renewed fire to come back home and crack on. And I did. When I got back, I auditioned for Flashdance, and then I didn't stop. I worked back to back for 9 years, pretty much. until I burnt out. I was like, no more singing.
I need a break. I need a holiday.
Yeah.
Simply Ballroom didn't tempt you in any way to try something like Strictly, has it? Or?
Yeah, do you know, at the time before, I was like, no, I'm not really up for it, because what I wanted to do is establish myself in a career that was mine, as opposed to just looking like, oh, well, he did hearsay, and now he just was going to do anything to get his name about. So I was never into Strictly or the Jungle or any of that stuff. But I think now, where I'm at in my life and my career, I feel settled, and I feel like good in the head and all of that stuff, and all the things that you need to pursue that route a bit more. You have to remember, like, my first brush with fame was a really traumatic experience, because I was so young, and they chewed us up and spat us out. And I don't want to sound ungrateful with that, because it's not an ungrateful thing at all. It was an amazing experience. But getting over that and coming to terms with who you are and connecting with, at an age where I should have been going to university and doing my own hair and finding out what fashion I wanted, to live with, and then I was kind of boxed up and packaged and told what to say and what to be and what to do, and it fucked me up for a good couple of years. So it's just it's now I feel like if those opportunities came up, I would be like in the right space to do it. So you never know. The other day I was doing OT Mabusi is running, my husband choreographs with OT, and she's running a home festival. Yeah. He did all of the big, I don't know if you watched The Greatest Dancer, but he choreographed all like the Dirty Dancing stuff, and that was all their big finale, the three of them. He choreographed that. So
wow, I didn't know
that. So he's doing great work with her, and she's going on tour next year, and he's going to be creative director. Anyway, I digress. She's been doing this home festival, and she asked me to sing on her home festival. It was like a musical theatre day a few weeks ago. So I chipped in, and I'm singing a song, and then I look down, and Shirley Ballas is watching, and I was like, oh my god! And then me and Oti were chatting about it, and I was like, Shirley Ballas is watching me, and she was like, I was like, what do I get? Give me a mark, and she gave me a 10, and I was like, mate, if I could do it with the dancing one day, then fine. But is it sad that I got that excited?
Not at all. But the thing is, you do things like this, and you never know who is watching, and somebody could just go, that's who I need for XYZ. So
you never know.
I'm hoping the same will happen to me. Someone will go, there's our next host of the One Show, sit alongside Alex.
Why haven't they done that? Why you're way prettier than Gethin Jones?
Oh, do you think? Oh, I don't know. I don't know.
I don't know.
Oddly enough, I've made a couple of other notes. The other things I'd like to talk to you about potentially is, obviously I've seen you in the big productions. I've seen you perform as part of Hearsay. Two favourite times I've seen you perform. Once was a long time ago. I'm talking probably 2004, 2005. And you performed at Pride in Cardiff with Wadge.
Yes.
Who's she? What has she done lately?
What's she done? Yeah, we've got that picture of us with Luke Evans, and what's he done as well? God. This is
an acoustic set with Amy, and that was one of not just my all-time favourite singing times of watching you, but one of my all-time favourite memories of Cardiff Pride.
It was lovely.
And you worked with Amy on that, and it was beautiful. I think, if memory serves right, you did an acoustic version of Dancing Queen.
Into Kylie Minogue's I just can't get you out of my head. We did that like a big gay medley, a fabulous medley.
Obviously, Amy has gone on to become a multi Grammy
millionaire
songwriter. She's written TV shows, so like Keeping Faith, and has still kept very much ground. She's still got her house in the Diff. Still walks the kids to school. She's a good girl. Any chance of a future collaboration, do you think?
Oh, I'm sure. I mean, that's the thing. Like, I would love to do some more music, but it's finding music takes time, and also it's like the most what's the word? It's like the most personal thing to me. Yes. Like when I just sing for myself, and for so many years I've been playing characters and all that kind of stuff. So when you take all of that away, it's quite like, it feels quite exposing, and that's something that I'm still kind of getting to. But maybe I'll get like an older album together at some point. I've got loads of material up from over the years.
We'll have
So
to shout at people and maybe get an album of Welsh voices together. Bring back Luke Evans, a bit of Sharp.
get them all out.
Get
Get
them
them
all.
all out.
You mentioned there about music being personal. The last time I saw you perform was at the Millennium Centre, your solo show.
Yes.
You've done that a couple of times in London, then you brought it home to Cardiff. Again, a wonderful evening where it was really stripped back, honest and open, and we could tell you were singing from the heart. Any plans to do more of those?
Yeah, definitely. That was the show was called If You Don't Know Me By Now. So I think there's plenty more of Noel puns that I could use.
Probably.
So yeah, so I'll just go through the list. But I'm definitely going to do some more of that. It was really good to just stand on the stage and tell my story uninhibited and without any kind of fear or shame or any of those things that were kind of attached to my youth. You know, it's incredibly cathartic to stand up and show people who you are through the medium of your choice. You know.
Great. As I have been doing with the other people I've been talking to, I've been getting questions from the audience, as it were. So I've got a couple of questions for you.
It's so showbiz, I love it.
Oh, showbiz. You aren't here to hear the second questions from yet. So the first one is from Grant in Manchester.
Hello, Grant.
He's a wonderful, wonderful chap, and I must introduce you at some stage. He's lovely. He asks, were there any Hearsay album tracks that you think would have made a good single release? His favourite was Not That Kind.
Oh, yeah. I love that song. Do you know, off the top of my head, I'd have to go through them to be able to remember. It's so long ago. But yeah, maybe Not That Kind was cool, but I think it was like a complete rip-off of The Best Things in Life Are Free. It was so stolen from that. So, Pure and Simple was stolen from All Saints as well. So it's all thievery, isn't it? Pop music.
It's a
I haven't asked the question. I don't know, Grant. I'm sorry. No, I think they picked the best ones for the singles, maybe.
He'll appreciate the fact that you like Not That Kind, I'm sure. So this next question comes from somebody who you've already mentioned, a gentleman called Russell T. Davis.
Oh, shut up.
And his question is, are you still in touch with all your childhood friends? Is there anybody you've lost touch with that you'd like to reconnect with? And is it too late?
Oh, that's a really good question. I'm in touch with a couple of my school friends still. And there's, I think, at different parts in your life, you connect with different people and you lose touch with them. And yeah, there's a bunch of people that I think, oh my God, I wish I was still in touch with them. But you just, like, some people are there with you for the whole ride and some people are there with you just for that moment. And you can't, and I think you kind of just have to get on with it, don't you? Like, if I spent my whole time just reconnecting with all the people from the past, you find that actually you haven't got that much in common anymore. Your lives have taken different paths and you move forward. So yeah, the ones that I want to be in touch with, I am.
That's good.
Answer. Yeah.
That's good. I've also been ending each of the interviews with the same questions. So I don't know if you ever watched a show called In the Actor's Studio with James Lipton. And he always did the same thing. And I've basically stopped, stolen and tweaked some of these. So I've got a few questions for you.
Great.
Question number one. What's your favourite song?
Oh, God. My favourite song. Oh, my God. There's so many. I don't even know where to start. I'm going to say... Oh, God. I can't pick one. I just can't stop loving you, Michael Jackson.
Right, okay. I was expecting Luther Vandross, I have to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard, isn't it? Because I love all of the soul. So anything, any Earth, Wind and Fire.
Bit of Beverly.
Yeah, I just love good songs. I could sit here for hours talking about music.
I'm going to flip that around. What's your least favourite song?
God. I don't know. Something that I really hate.
Yes. What would you turn the radio off if it came on? You're not allowed to say hearsay, pure and simple.
No, no. Do you know, I probably, if anything that's like heavy metal, I'd be like, nah, sorry, mate. Not for me.
What's your favourite sound?
Birds. Birds first thing in the morning. Dawn chorus.
What's your least favourite sound?
I mean, I don't like noise generally, so like the neighbours can get on my nerves. Yeah, noisy neighbours.
Let's hope they don't watch this. What job, other than the one you currently have, would you like to try?
A chef. I'd like to be a chef.
Oh.
Yeah, I was thinking about doing a course actually when this is all over, like going to the Cordon Bleu and having a little cheeky time out just to see. I love cooking, so I'd really like to know like the proper basics of it all because I know what to do in the kitchen.
Heston Blumenthal once.
Sorry?
You do something with Heston Blumenthal once.
Yeah, so that was last Christmas. They got us on. They had like a basically they did Heston Blumenthal's Fat Duck, but back in 2001. So they ripped out the kitchen and kitted it out in 2001, and then filled the dining room with people from 2001, and then fed us the meal that won him his first Michelin star. It was amazing. It was more rock and roll than the Brits for sure. We had like Alex James, and there were so many naughty people there.
Naughty, that's a good word to describe.
Naughty, yeah, they were naughty.
What's your favourite treat?
Red wine and cheese together.
Okay.
Yeah, that's my favourite.
If heaven exists, what would you like God to say to you when you arrive at the pearly gates?
Lucky you.
Love that. It's your turn. It's time to turn the tables. Do you have a question you'd like to ask me?
I do. I want to know how old you were and where you were when you did your first drag performance.
Oh, right. Okay. So, oddly enough, yesterday I did an interview for the BBC about the history of the gay scene in Cardiff.
You are the history of the gay scene in Cardiff.
I am. I'm like Betty Davis of the country. I remember when. I was 24. So it's Dr Bev's 25th, 26th year now. And I was on stage at the old King's Cross bar in Cardiff. The bizarre thing is, King's Cross closed several years ago. And on the last day, I had a souvenir. And I'm sat on it. I'm actually sat on a chair that came from the King's Cross pub in Cardiff on the day it closed. So
they gave it to you, didn't they? They gave it to you.
They gave it to me, yes. I've also got the sign from
a plaque on it. Is it a blue plaque?
That Dr Bev once performed here. But yes, 25, 26 years ago I started, and it was the King's Cross in Cardiff.
Wow.
Yeah, and I did it once for charity, and that's it. It stuck. I had a black dress on, black tights. The lovely Caroline Cooper lent me a dress. But that's also how thin and slim I was at the time.
Couldn't fit it on your leg now, could you, babe?
I can't use it as a scarf. So that was my first one many, many years ago. Great question. Thank you. Lastly, before we say goodbye, what's next for you? What's your plans? What's happening next in your life?
Well, I think nobody really knows, theatre-wise, they're talking that they might not open until early next year, so that's off the cards. The film and TV industries are just starting to ramp up and creak and find their way into making movements forward. So it's literally just creative time at the moment. I've been doing a lot of writing and spending time with my loved ones, which is rare. So I'm not in a rush. Like I know some people are stressed about what's going to happen, but you can't be worried about it. You just have to enjoy the moment for now, enjoy being around the people you love, and have a nice time as much as you can.
Well, thank you very much for joining me today. I hope that I get to see you in the Robin Hood again very, very soon for a quick drink.
Me too. I'm gasping for a pint.
Gasping for a pint. Thank you very much for joining us today, Noel. Thank you to everybody for watching, and I hope to see you again on the next appointment with the doctor, and I'll see you again soon. Thank you all very much. Cheerio.